To order this morning. We are here today to review the fiscal year 2016 budget request for the Forest Service. Chief, it's good to have you back before the committee. Thank you. And I'd also like to welcome Mr. Tony Dixon, who serves as the Director of the Office of Strategic Planning, Budget, and Accountability at the Forest Service. He's accompanying the Chief today. Welcome to you as well. Again, we're going to follow early bird rules here. We'll do 6-minute rounds afterwards. Hopefully we'll be able to get through all of our questions this morning. I know that other members have other approps hearings that we are trying to juggle and run in and out between. So hopefully we'll operate smoothly here and efficiently. Let's go to the budget request itself. The Forest Service has asked for $4.93 billion for FY16. That's a 2.7% or $130 million less than the current enacted level. Forest Service has also requested an additional $854 million in mandatory spending for the proposed fire cap adjustment. I am pleased that the request maintains the increases the subcommittee included last year for hazardous fuels management. I also appreciate the funding proposed for the Forest Inventory Analysis Program. This provides important information to our states, to industry, and other land managers on the health of all of our nation's forests. It will allow this information to be collected in interior Alaska for the very first time, which the state has advocated for many years. I also appreciate that unlike previous years where the subsistence program line item was proposed for elimination, that funding is included at last year's level. This is critical for managing the subsistence resource in Alaska, so I thank you for that. There are a few things that I do find concerning, so have to mention those as well. The budget requests $127.7 million for federal land acquisition through the Land and Water Conservation Fund, $65 million of which is proposed to be mandatory spending. That's a staggering $80 million above FY15. And while the President's budget doesn't respect the budget caps, this subcommittee is still bound by the Budget Control Act. And while I do believe that we should reauthorize and modernize the Land and Water Conservation Fund, this is a proposal looking at within your budget, Chief, that I can't support. The administration is yet again proposing the Integrated Resource Restoration Program, which has been rejected multiple times by this committee because the Forest Service has not yet demonstrated the effectiveness of the current IRR pilot projects. And I know that I bring this up with you at every budget hearing, so it's back before us again. Despite the problems that I see with the President's request, there are also areas where I do believe that we can be working together. For example, I'm committed to working with my colleagues to find a way to stop fire borrowing. Fire borrowing undermines the appropriations process and restricts our ability to complete important work on the ground because of the loss of field seasons. Future activities are further impeded when we're forced to repay fire suppression costs in the following fiscal year. I am hopeful that during the course of this Congress, we will reach agreement on how to end this destructive cycle. We also need to get back to the idea that the Forest Service should manage our forests for multiple use and sustained yield. And while I appreciate the idea of the new Forest Service mantra, which is caring for the land, serving the people, it doesn't always feel like you're living up to it in southeast Alaska and the Tongass area and in other parts around the country. What would best serve the people of my state is a sustainable timber industry. And no one is suggesting that we should roll back the clock and engage in what some might consider irresponsible forestry management. Alaska has proven that robust development, tourism, and habitat can successfully coexist, and I know that there are many, many examples across the country. The elementary school where I went as a kid was once robustly funded by a thriving federal timber program, but today it relies on Secure Rural Schools subsidies, which are harder and harder to find space for in our annual budget. And this is a problem of the Forest Service own creation, so I look forward to hearing how the Forest Service proposes to correct it. It is not a false choice to pursue both healthy local economies and healthy forests. We can have both. And if we work toward that as our goal, we'll solve many of the problems that we currently face. We wouldn't require hundreds of millions of dollars for subsidies to our logging communities. We could make great strides in reducing fuel loads in our federal forests, and we could make advancements in technology that will result in commercial uses for currently non-merchantable timber. And most importantly, we could have thriving and healthy communities and forests. Now, during questions, I want to discuss several challenges that we're facing and hear your ideas for solutions to them. I'd like to hear about the Forest Service plans for air tanker modernization and aircraft availability this fire season and then going into the future. I'd also like to hear how the Forest Service proposes to increase revenues to counties while phasing out the Secure Rural Schools program. And I'd also like to hear about any developments the Forest Service has made toward maintaining a sustainable timber industry in Alaska. Again, Chief, thank you for being here today. I look forward to your testimony. And with that, I will turn to my ranking member, Senator